Hey, this is JC in the woods again. I wanted to bring you a video quicker than normal because I think things are moving very fast now in this pandemic exercise, and I think we really need to help each other to pay close attention to what's going on. We're being bombarded with so much misinformation from so many different directions. It's going to be really hard for us to sort it ourselves out. So together, I think we can keep track of the things that are important and hopefully move forward in the next couple weeks and start to sort out who's been telling us the truth and who hasn't. I want to talk specifically about the mainstream media because I think right now the mainstream media is being used against us. Some of you might roll your eyes and say, of course, JC, the media is always used against us. And this is true. But right now, there is a blitz of misinformation that's being thrown at us at an unprecedented level. The truth is not given away for free on television. You got to get over this idea that you can just watch TV and decide what's true and what's not and then know what's going on. There is no good information on television. And I think if you take a minute to think about what you do see on television versus what you don't see on TV, I think you'll begin to understand that I'm actually right. One of the things I'm most concerned about is that we've been putting a number of pseudo-experts on television in the mainstream media to tell us what our next best actions are. Specifically, I'm talking about Peter Daszak, who has been recently on NPR, and also number one Bill Gates, who's been on PBS NewsHour to talk also about the actions that we as a society should take. I think these two experts are pseudo-experts because they are not actually epidemiologists. They may lead or have founded a nonprofit organization which has some amorphous motivation to stop pandemics or to fight the spread of disease. But quite frankly, if they are peddling a vaccine for coronavirus, they are peddling snake oil. So specifically what I want you to think about is what you've been shown on television for the last 4 months leading up to this pandemic exercise. You've been shown almost 25 hours of primetime television that featured up to 20 candidates for the Democratic presidential nomination debating real and imaginary issues that affect our society and our economy. More than 25 hours. Now answer this question. How many hours of experts on epidemiology, virology, and vaccination have you seen on television debating the way that our society should move forward in this unprecedented time? The answer is 0. In fact, the two experts that you've seen have done absolutely no science that's been peer-reviewed in relation to epidemiology, respiratory diseases, or pandemics. These people are the heads of specifically nonprofit organizations which take phantom funds and funnel them into research that they deem relevant for vaccine research. And their vaccine research, very specifically, is snake oil. In this video, I'm going to challenge you to test yourself to see how much you've been brainwashed by the New World Order. Specifically, I want you to test yourself on how much you've been brainwashed by their media machine. The media machine has almost completely blunted your critical thinking apparatus inside of your head. And that leads you to do one thing. When you're given contradictory information, the first thing you do is question the source of that information rather than question the information that you're currently holding in your head. Now, you've been brainwashed by the mainstream media to accept a story about a pandemic which originated in China and is now endangering the world economy and our culture as a whole. I want you to question this narrative. Listen to experts who are speaking out against this narrative. Knut has over 20 years experience as a faculty at Rockefeller University, the foremost research university in America. As an epidemiologist and a very foremost expert on respiratory diseases, Knut would suggest that we are, by flattening the curve, actually spreading the pandemic, magnifying the effects of the epidemic, and actually threatening to damage our healthcare system even more than we would have if we would have just simply shut the borders when it was appropriate and tested people as they came across. Please, again, challenge yourself. You're going to feel an initial urge to say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he doesn't know what's going on in New York right now. Knut lives in New York. We can watch New York happen and we can watch America as it moves through this pandemic and compare the results in 2 weeks to the predictions that these epidemiologists are making. And then we can make a new judgment as to whether or not we should take this pandemic as seriously as our non-expert leaders would like us to believe. We don't need to listen to people like Bill Gates and Peter Daszak when there are people like real epidemiologists who have been studying this phenomenon for their entire scientific career, around to ask questions. This is JC in the Woods. I'll see you next time.